Hey everybody, this is Dr. Cindy Woody and I am answering a PASL frequently asked question about task 1, the artifact example that goes with 1.2.2. I call it 2 pages of the plan. So if you'll look at this list, these are all of the artifacts that you have to have for task 1 of your PASL exam. And if you look right here, you will see that the only artifact that has 2 pages is the problem solving plan. So somebody said, could you give me an example of what those 2 pages would look like? So if you've watched my PASL Write It Up Fast series, I do have an example in one. I don't know if I gave you a whole plan, but I showed you how you could use a Word document to create a plan that looked fine. It was nice. But I actually am really glad somebody asked this question because let me show you something. If you go to your PASL Task 1, Problem Solving in the Field, and you scroll down to page 2, you will see that this is the list of artifacts. It's just like the one from my slide. But right here, it says representative pages of the plan. It has a little asterisk, and it has a sample template is provided, but candidates can submit a form of their own, maximum of 2 pages. That doesn't mean your plan should be 2 pages. That means that you should only turn in screenshots of 2 pages or a PDF of 2 pages. So let me show you what this template is and where it comes from. I don't think I've ever done that for a video before, so it's a great question. So hopefully you have found your ETS website. I've got the address up here. ETS.org, it's got the PASL website, and it's got these rows here. So a while ago, I was working on this one, building and submitting the task, but I want you to go to the one that says resources and test prep, and then scroll. This is the handbook. I talk about the handbook. It's very important. And this is the one where if you're crying because you can't get your videos submitted, it's all in here. Guidance with the PASL, frequently asked questions, and there's more about videos in there. And then you come down to where it says ancillary and planning materials, and this is the one. So I've already downloaded it. Let me see. And I have filled out, let me show you the blank one. Okay, there, that's a little bit bigger. I wanted you to see that it comes like this. It has these form fields already built into it, has a header. You can literally do what I did. I clicked up here. You can't delete the header unless you go to insert. You go over to a header and then you go to remove the header. So then that takes care of that. And then you would, if you're going to use this actual template, you're going to need to delete all of these things. They don't need to see that. And then you can change the top to be task 1 plan. Identify the components. Now, on the sample I'm about to show you, I put my name. Don't put your name. I just did it so that you would know that if you did download this or save it, you could see that it's the sample. Don't get confused. I also want to show you something. See how these fields right now are nice and neat, and you've got the problem here, and then you got the colleagues. You scroll down page 2, has more a little bit about colleagues. You scroll down to page 3, and there's something about the research. And the whole thing is so nice and neat on page 3. Well, when you start to type in this, they have this set up so that this row right here is like a header. And if you type a lot in these boxes, it bumps the header down and it repeats again on page 2. So annoying to me. But remember, the PASL people created this. They're used to seeing it. If you use the template, you'll be fine. So don't worry about if it repeats pages or whatever. So let me switch over to mine now and show you one that's filled in. Okay, so remember, I said don't put your name on there. I just did this so in case you save your screenshots, which you're welcome to, you won't you won't be confused about your own work. And also remember, anything that I do on here, you're welcome to take screenshots and use it any way that helps you. Do not copy the words because they run plagiarism checks. Every single thing you turn in on PASL will have a plagiarism check attached to it. They will absolutely catch you if you use Chat GPT or if you copy things from the videos. So don't do that. It's not worth it. Write your own stuff. So you will see what I chose this time. I don't think I've ever focused on this in any of the other videos. I took an actual high school that I love, that's not too far from me, does a great job. And I looked at their data and I found a hole in their college-ready graduates. And the reason I chose this is because CCRS, the College and Career Readiness Standards, are a set of standards that we forget that we're accountable for. So I wanted to spotlight that. They come with performance indicators. They look really neat. Let me show you what they look like. If you go to the Texas Higher Ed Coordinating Board, you can actually Google this, Texas College Career Readiness Standards. You can see the revised standards. I'm going to click on this one here, and it shows the standards. But I actually like this one a little bit better. So if you click on there, I want you to see this. You'll understand my plan, why I'm saying what I'm saying. So the table of contents shows you that we have standards for each subject area and cross-disciplinary standards. And then more importantly, we have performance indicators. And they're pretty neat. I'm not going to go into great detail for them, but I want you to see how that impacts my plan. So I chose this area, college-ready graduates, as our problem. And I can clearly see that in the taper data. One sentence would probably be enough on my rationale. I felt like I needed to explain a little bit more, but all you have to do is give a rationale of why this is the focus that you chose. I used data. I said our taper results showed for the past 3 years, our high school students have been 20 to 30% percentage 20 to 30% lower than the state average for college-ready graduates. We have about 25 to 35% fewer TSIA complete students. So TSIA, in case you're not familiar with that, is a college entrance exam. That's the Texas one that we have to have for dual credit and entrance to college. So if kids aren't doing that, they're not able to participate in any of these things, and they're truly not college ready. So I also talked a little bit about AP exams. Now, this is the intended results of the plan, and this is the rationale for choosing them. If you'll notice, I didn't go deep into student data yet. I have a chance to do that in a minute. And again, on the rationale, I didn't go too deeply in it. I'll let you pause and read what I said for the intended results of the plan. And then here's the problem and challenge. So they put this on here again. I don't like it because it's on here. Remember, this was from my first page. It's because I wrote more words than would fit on the boxes for the second page. So now this is repeated, but that's fine. So here's the result on student learning. Students will have 16 chances per week to practice either the CCRS cross-disciplinary standards performance indicators and or subjects. So basically, I called it the 4 to the 4th plan. And I just made that up. I pulled that out of the air. 4 minutes a day, 4 subjects, 4 days a week. So we can increase the number of TIA complete students by 16 percentage points. And the reason I did that, my rule of thumb, anytime you're trying to figure out how much of a growth you want to see, I take the gap between where we are and where we want to be, and I use the state or the region or whatever as the comparison point. Or if I'm doing ethnic groups or demographic groups, the highest performing in the group I'm working with, and I divide that gap in half. So we have a 26 percentage point gap. We're at, on the taper, it says that we're at 26% for college readiness, and the state is 58%. That's a 32-point gap. I'm dividing it in half, so I want our students to increase from 26% college ready to 42% college ready. That cuts the gap in half. I hope that makes sense. So notice that this is the impact on learning. So an impact on learning is they're going to have more chances to learn. It's going to increase the rigor. Teachers are going to present that more. And this is the evidence of the impact on learning. So this is the score part. So this is what kids are learning. This is how I know they learned it. And then you go down here. Now we've got a new set for the top. And these are all the people I said I'm going to meet with and why I chose to meet with them. And if you notice, I stuck some stuff in for task 2 and task 3 because I'm going to make all 3 of my tasks about the CCRS, College and Career Readiness Standards. So I made my professional learning about CCRS, and I made my collaborative team or my PLC group in task 3 about CCRS. And you can look at that and see how I included those. And then my strategies to use with colleagues, you can put a lot of different things here. It depends on what you're doing. So I just focused on how I'm going to work with colleagues. I'm going to engage them, I'm going to communicate with them, and I'm going to keep it simple for them. How I'm going to recruit them, I'm going to look for inexperienced and experienced teachers. I'm going to accept volunteers. I'm going to also seek out people who are not volunteers. And then while I'm working on the implementation, we're going to use Google Teams and we're going to use Google Classroom. And then colleagues needed, this is repeated again. Cost to consider. I just made some things up. College, Google Classroom is already paid for, but we might want to run some things off, $200. The coffee bar is $10 a week. If I use the district food service, $160 for 16 weeks. And then what we have available, the principal said I can use up to $500 for this on office supplies and paper and $200 on staff activity funds. And I think I should be under budget. And the source of the funds, I just said CCMR campus funds and campus staff activity funds. It might be Title II, whatever, lots of things there. Okay, and then research information needed, how to get it and where to distribute it. This is from, this part right here was already in the plan, and this was already in the plan, and this is already in the plan. So I said the research information, honestly, you're going to have a whole lot in your other task about research. You'll be using an artifact for research. So I didn't give them a whole lot in the plan. I just said I'm going to get it from my contributors, and these people are going to distribute it. And where we're going to get it, I just kind of said the Texas Higher Ed Coordinating Board, website, scholarly articles, TSA. The reason I said scholarly articles is some of you may be using research that you did in your internship from your graduate program. That's fine. If my graduate program, I had studied college and career readiness and I had like a scholarly article, that's all I need for that research. But I'm going to show that I'm getting some other sources too. And then how to distribute it that way. And approval, I just said I'm going to meet with my site supervisor and get approval. If you want to get more specific with approval, that's fine. Principal intern, that's me. That's a contact person. I didn't put my name. I put a little bit more about meeting times and communication, and I didn't fill out the timeline. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't put this as one of my 2 pages. I think this page is probably my weakest page for them seeing what I'm doing. I would probably put, I like this page because it talks about the problem, challenge, rationale, result of student impact. This page is also good. I think this one's really strong. Or I could put this page because I get some of the strategies and things. So I wouldn't put both 1 and 2 just because the top of my page 1 and the top of my page 2 are identical. That's not going to give them much to work with. I would probably put like 1 or 2 and then 3, not 4. 4's not bad. This is bad. So 1, either a page from 1 and 2 and a page from 3 and 4. That's what I would do. So let me know if you have more questions. I'm happy to help you with the answers. I want you to succeed. I know that you're about to be the next certified principal in this great state of Texas. So keep up the good work and let me know how I can help you.